They called me Mine Wolf.
Det her, det er Night Betty Martin, og hun har ryddet miner i Sydsudan siden 2005. Hun og resten af holdet er netop blevet færdige med at rydde det her område for eksplosiver. Og nu har vi simpelthen fået lov til at komme med helt tæt på og se, hvordan folkekirken rydder miner i Sydsudan.
Night Betty Martin is one of South Sudan's most experienced deminers. For 13 years, she has put on the suit and searched for landmines. That has given her the nickname Mine Wolf. For Betty, demining is more than a job, it's a necessity for her family's survival. Because the civil war in South Sudan has torn apart not only the country, but also her family. Betty's husband David and her sons had to flee the violence to neighbouring Uganda. But for the family to have money to survive, Betty has had to stay behind and continue clearing mines in one of the world's most violent conflicts.
We are supposed to stay together. I'm supposed to help them.
Betty's husband, David, and her 3 sons are some of the more than 1 million South Sudanese who have fled the atrocities of war. They now live just south of the border in a refugee camp, and her youngest son Philip has a wish for his mum. The boys miss their mother, and it's hard to talk about her. David was also a deminer in South Sudan, but his critical comments on South Sudan's leaders has put him in danger in his homeland, and he cannot return. All he and the boys can do now is wait for peace.
In refugees, it seems like to be a curse, somebody who is cursed by God.
That Betty has been able to clear mines for more than 13 years is because she has a constant focus on the team's and her own safety. The equipment is checked every time they clear mines and other explosives.
I hele det her område, der har vores minerydningshold sammen med Betty fundet morterer, de har fundet granater, de har fundet raketter. Og nu vil Betty, hun vil vise os, hvordan at arbejdet rent faktisk fungerer. Men mens hun går ud og viser os det, så tror jeg, at de bliver her.
The area has already been cleared and is no longer dangerous. That is why we can film Betty, while she demonstrates how she searches for mines. Out in the field, the signal from the detector is the only thing standing between Betty and an explosive device. If it isn't properly calibrated, she can lose her life.
Selvom Betty og alle vores kollegaer her i Sydsudan, de har ekstremt høje standarder for sikkerhed, så kan vi bare ikke komme udenom, at det her arbejde, det er altså med livet som indsats.
Shortly before I met Betty, she received the hardest message possible as a deminer. Her good friend Mary Magdalene, who worked as a deminer for another organization, lost her life in a demolition accident. Mary's 3-year-old daughter now faces life in war-torn South Sudan without a mother.
Yes, being a deminer is very dangerous.
What were your first reaction when you heard that Mary had lost her life?
Someone who is saving people and also immediately to lose her life is not okay. I'm feeling really very sorry.
Every year, 100 deminers around the world have accidents, and in 2016, 25 deminers lost their lives. Life as a deminer is tough. Betty and her colleagues can't go home to their families after work. Instead, they try, in their own way, to create a small amount of normalcy in a crazy reality. But when your day is full of danger and explosions, that can be really hard.
It's really very dangerous.
Losing a colleague is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a deminer. Feelings can kill. If you lose focus, even for a second, and your hands shake, it's over.
If you are not really strong, you'll be in danger. You'll be so scared.
When Betty has found metal with her detector, she digs in carefully from the side, removing small amounts of dirt at a time that reduces the risk of an explosion.
Det er helt vildt at stå her og se Betty fjerne eksplosiver fra jorden, og så tænke på, at hendes børn de bor lige på den anden side af grænsen i Uganda i en flygtningelejr.
Betty's family fled South Sudan in July 2016. While she was out clearing mines, her family's hometown, Yei, was attacked by government forces. The fighting has left large parts of the country burnt and desolate. But luckily, David and the sons escaped safely to Uganda.
Det er resterne af nogle menneskers hjem. Det er her, de har sovet. Det er her, de har levet. Det er her, hele deres liv har været. Det her aske, det er resterne af taget, der var på huset, som nu er blevet brændt ned. Og det eneste tegn, der er tilbage på, at der faktisk har boet mennesker i det her hus, det er den her kop.
When Betty's family fled, the fighting was very severe.
A lot of dead bodies lying. People are dying at that time like nothing. So many people died.
My country is beautiful, but our leaders has made our country the most ugly in the world.
South Sudan is the youngest country in the world. The young nation got its independence in 2011, but the nation's short history has been marred by conflict. In 2014, civil war broke out between the country's largest tribes. The country's president, Salva Kiir, is Dinka, while the former vice president and opposition leader, Riek Machar, is Nuer. The conflict has raged since 2013, with more than 50,000 dead, 2 million internally displaced, and 2 million who have fled the country. Spread across the country are deadly remnants from past and present conflicts. Remnants in the form of unexploded rockets, grenades, and landmines, ruining the lives of many people. When Betty risks her life clearing mines, she does so for her children. A large part of her salary pays for her children's school fees in Uganda. Even though Betty's work clearing mines provides the boys with a little more than most refugees in Uganda, life is still extremely difficult.
There's no food, there's no better schools, no better health. So I am only feeling that I am safe in my home, nobody threatening my life.
In Betty's small tent in South Sudan, her boys are always in her thoughts. It's hard for her, that they worry about her.
But sometimes they used to ask me that, is mine not going to kill me? I said no, it's not going to kill. I feel like to stay with my children there. Real, I feel like to stay together with them. We are supposed to stay together. I'm supposed to help them the other way around.
Not long ago, I actually visited your children in Uganda in one of the settlements. And I have a message from them to you, and I would like to share it with you.
I miss them. You see now they are looking like people who doesn't know have a mother.
Despite Betty living and working in a dangerous war zone, and David being a refugee, the love in the small family has never faded.
Hopefully we shall be together again.
We shall be together.
In a civil war with no end in sight, the best Betty can do for her family is to clear mines and hope for peace.